Today's thought of the day is actually, very, very deep. And I'm sure it will impact you in the session itself because it's about releasing shame through compassion. Just imagine shame is a locked room where your wounded self hides. Compassion is the key that opens the door and says, you are still lovable. So today, we are actually going to find that key together. So let me ask you, how many of you have ever felt your cheeks burn when someone mentions your, let's say, 10th board exams in front of relatives? Or felt that sinking feeling when your parents compared you to the neighbor's kid who secured 95% and plays violin too? Or maybe your mother in law, judged you in front of your neighbors and relatives. That burning sensation, that's shame knocking at your door. But here's something that might surprise you: shame and guilt are not the same thing, though we often confuse them like we confuse your and your in our Instagram captions. Guilt says, I did something bad. It's specific, like when you forget your mother's birthday and feel terrible about it. And guilt is about your actions, it's fixable. So shame says, I am bad. It's global. It's that voice that whispers, you are the kind of person who forgets important things. You are selfish. You're disappointing. So shame attacks your entire being. Think about it in this way: if guilt is a stain on your shirt, shame is believing you are the stain. So shame is like that one relative who thrives on family WhatsApp groups. It feeds on secrecy and silence. The more we hide it, the stronger it gets. So just imagine, let's say you're a teenager who failed in maths, and instead of talking about it, you hid your report card. Every family dinner becomes torture when someone asks about your studies. And that shame grows in the darkness of your silence, whispering, you're not smart enough. You'll never succeed. Or maybe when you were in your 30s, still living with your parents in a society that expects you to be settled by now. So instead of addressing the reality, maybe you're saving money. Maybe you're caring for aging parents. Maybe you're building a startup. You avoid wedding invitations and social gatherings, and the shame multiplies in isolation. But here's where we flip the script: self compassion is not self pity, it's self understanding. Very similarly, when we say self care is not being selfish, it's basically self loving. So it's not about making excuses, it's about making peace. So when your best friend calls you crying because they made a mistake at work, what do you say? You're so stupid? You always mess up? You're a failure? Of course not. You would say, hey, everyone makes mistakes. You are human. You're learning. And this doesn't define you. So why do we speak to ourselves like our own worst enemy? So let me share a story about Sonia, a college student who was devastated when she didn't get into her dream engineering college. For months, she carried shame like a heavy backpack, telling herself she wasn't smart enough, that she had disappointed everyone. And one day, her grandmom asked her, Beta, if your younger cousin faced the same situation, what would you tell her? And that question changed everything. Sonia realized she would tell her cousin that entrance exams don't determine worth, that there are multiple paths to success, and that one setback doesn't erase all her qualities. So she started speaking to herself also with the same kindness. So let's try something powerful right now. So I want you to think of one thing you are carrying shame about. Yes, right now. Maybe it's your body, your career choices, a relationship that ended, or a dream that you haven't pursued. Just think about it, that one thing. And now imagine writing a letter to yourself that begins with, I know you have carried this pain for a long time, and then continue. You're just imagining, saying it in your mind. Acknowledge that shame. Don't miss it. Say, I see you struggling with feeling not good enough after the job interview rejection. Or I understand why you feel embarrassed about still being single at 28 in a culture obsessed with early marriage. And then, and this is crucial, shift your tone gently. But I still love you and I choose to understand you. Continue with saying, you're not broken, you're not behind in life. You are exactly where you need to be, learning what you need to learn. And this isn't about lying to yourself or toxic positivity. This is about treating yourself with the same grace you would offer a dear friend. So when you speak to yourself with compassion instead of criticism, something magical happens. The energy that was trapped in shame, that heavy, stuck feeling begins to move. So instead of hiding from your struggles, you can learn from them. Instead of avoiding challenges, you face them with self kindness as your companion. So remember this, you are not your mistakes, your delays, your imperfections, or your unmet expectations. You're a human being worthy of love and understanding, and especially from your own self. So here's your gentle challenge. This week, catch yourself in one moment of self criticism and take a pause. Ask yourself, what would I say to my best friend in this situation? And then say that to yourself instead. Because the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. Choose compassion, choose growth, choose to unlock that door where your wounded self has been hiding and invite them back into the light. You deserve your own kindness. Start there and watch how it transforms everything else. And with that thought, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.